Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 135 of Build Your Stash and Craft. And today we are going to make an earring holder, but if you are like me and you don't wear earrings, you can always use this as a dangle embellishment holder. And but I was requested to make an earring holder, and so that's what we're going to do today. So the first thing, I just kind of wanted to do some kind of feet for the earring holder, and so I had you buy two of these little hair clamps. Now I've already kind of taken them apart. I tried to put it back together with the spring in it, but I couldn't get the spring back in. But when you take these off the card, they're going to have a little pin in them with the spring in the middle, and then the pin sticks out a little bit on the end. So what you're going to have to do with the spring in the middle, it's got some tension, so you're going to have to push kind of hard on the end, and then it's going to stick out just a little bit. And you can just use your pliers to grab a hold of that and then just pull it out. And be careful when you pull it out, that spring may pop out. So be careful when you pull it out, kind of hold your finger there and then pull it out. And this little spring is in there and it's going to fall out. So you can put that aside. I put it with my metal bits and I will use it for some mixed media. I'm also going to put the little pin aside too. Okay, so I've already done that with the brown one. And so now we've got the black one. And what I'm going to do is use these to make feet. Now you'll notice this one is kind of messed up because I broke these off trying different ways of putting feet on there, and you're not going to need to do that. So they're going to look just like this when you take them apart, and that's all you're going to need to do. Okay, so I want the black ones to be out the front because our frame is going to be black. So I want the black ones to be the front part of our feet, and we're going to use the brown ones to be the back part of our feet. And we're going to use some of our super glue, Fix-It-All adhesive. This is a gel super glue. So the gels work really nice in super glue because they just kind of stay where you put them instead of running off, especially on something like this that is rounded. And what we're going to do is we are going to fit, we've got these here, and we're going to fit this right up into those little feet, just right until it touches. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with that. We're going to cut a piece of wire that's long enough to go around, and well, this is typical. I had the wire right here, and then what did I do with it? Here it is. It was hiding behind my toolbox. We're going to cut a piece of wire to also put through. That will hold it even better. And this is just our regular wire. And I just want enough that's going to go all the way around. So I'm just going to cut off a couple pieces so I have one for each of the legs that we're going to build. And so I'm cutting off maybe about 10 inches. But you know, you don't have to measure it, just a piece that's big enough to go through. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this up here and I'm going to kind of look at where do they touch each other. So pretty much they touch right between here. So that's where I'm going to put my glue. So I'm going to put some glue here and here. And I'm putting a nice dollop of glue on there. Because they're going to be feet, you want them to be strong. Now, you don't have to make your feet like this. You can make your feet, you can just make like a triangle of cardboard and put it on the back. You can do it however you wanted. I just thought that this might be kind of cute. And hopefully with the super glue and the wire and everything, it will hold up well. Because I haven't made one and used it for a while to see how long it will hold up. But then I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to take my wire, and I'm going to put it right over top of the brown one, and right through the holes in the black one. Just like that. And then just bring it around underneath, and give it a twist. And then I'm going to use my pliers. I think I'll cut a little bit of it off. Whenever you cut wire, always make sure that you hold on to it so it doesn't go flying and hit somebody in the eye or land on the floor and your little dog will chew on it. I don't know why, but Papa's little puppy likes to chew on metal. And I'm just going to twist this until I feel like it's nice and tight. I'm trying to get a hold of it close to the bottom so that it's twisting these two together at the bottom. And we don't want to break our plastic, but we do want that to be nice and tight, and that feels pretty good. Then I'm just going to roll the little pointy end into itself and just have it right underneath there. So now that's going to be 1 foot. Wipe the glue off, and I have it sitting on parchment just in case the glue does come through. And then we're going to take this one and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put it on there. Put our wire through the holes in the black one. And bring it around and give it a twist. So, get a hold of that extra wire and then twist it nice and tight. And I want to do this right now. I could set this aside and say I'll finish twisting it up nice and tight later, but I want to get it nice and tight so that it's really holding on to that super glue. Because, you know, the wire really will attach it together, but it would still be floppy. It's the super glue that's going to make it nice and solid. Okay, and just wrap this around. And there we go. Get the glue off my hands. And then I'm going to set them next to each other and kind of look at them. This one looks a little bit crooked, so I'm going to kind of straighten that out a bit. There we go. And they look, you want them to be pretty even. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I don't know if you can see it any better this way. But you want them to be in the same spot so that when you set your frame on there, it's going to hold on to it, or, you know, it's going to be level. So we're going to put one at one end and one at the other, and then the frame is going to sit on there like this. And what we're going to do, because see how that just fell forward, we are going to stand the frame up. When we put this together, we're going to stand the frame up like this, and then we're also going to glue that frame right to the feet. So that keeps it standing up much straighter. And then we have the little ones sticking out the front that you could throw your rings or something on. If you have rings, you could just put those on there, and that would, you know, probably be out about like that. But you'll put your rings on there, and then that'll just be a place for your rings also. But we're going to set these aside and let them dry. And I'm just going to leave them right on here and move the whole thing. Okay, so now for our earring holder, we bought a picture frame, and I'm going to take out the back. And we're going to take the glass out, put it someplace safe, because we're not going to use that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to set the pictures frame aside for a minute. And what I've done is I want to keep the back because just for a little bit of extra stability to hold in our paper and our chipboard. But what I'm going to do is we need to cut out the center because we've got to be able to put our earrings through there. So I am just going to, I've marked it. At the bottom, I left the width of my ruler. It's not actually an inch. I think it's about 1.25 inches. Well, if I can figure out how to use a ruler. Yeah, that's about 1.25 inches. But what I've decided to do, because those feet are going to go up a little bit higher, and I want to make sure that they're resting on this also, I'm going to actually go up 1.5 inches from the bottom. So I'm going to make my mark at 1.5 inches, and that's where we're going to cut out our center part, because our last hole is not going to be that close to the bottom. So leaving it there is not going to hurt a thing. As a matter of fact, let's see. This is going to be the last holes, because it's going to be hidden anyways. How far up is that? That's just 2 3/4 inches up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that cardboard right up to about 1/4 inch. What did I say that was? 2 1/4 or 2 3/4? 2 3/4. I'm going to make this 2.5 inches tall. It can't hurt to have extra support, and then our holes will be, maybe I'll just make it 2 inches, 2 1/4. I'll make it 2 1/4 inches tall. Yeah, it can't hurt to have that extra support there. And whenever I have to draw a line, I always make 3 marks to make sure that they line up, because if you make just 2, you could wind up with a crooked line. So there, that's where we're going to cut the bottom. So we're not going to cut it down here. All right, so what I've done on the bottom now, I've come up to whatever I just said, 2 1/4 inches. And then on each side, I came at the sides and the top 1/2 inch. So because, like I said, we do have to have, room to put our holes in it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the center of this. So on this side, I'm going to start right up here at the top, and I'm going to stop at that 2 1/4 inch mark. And then we're going to cut across that mark. Yeah, that's good to have that there for stability, and it should not be in the way of anything. All the way out to my 1/2 inch mark. Originally, I was going to, this is not a very good knife, and be very careful whenever you're using your knives. I was going to come in the width of the ruler all the way around, but that kind of wasted a lot of space on both sides to do it that way. So that's why I decided to make it just 1/2 inch, because it's just for a little bit of support. Oh, that's what my problem was. I've got a hole in my cutting board. I'm really smart. Let's see, does that all of them? Yep, that's all of them. Where did I miss? A little bit right there. A little bit right here. Okay. So this is going to go in our frame. This will go in our frame at the back, so for stability. And then we are going to have, layer-wise, it will be whatever decorative paper you chose for the front, then some chipboard, then this piece, and that's the way that that is going to go in our frame to make our jewelry holder. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to put the holes in our chipboard first. And I have my little pad here that we made for our embossing pads and pokey pads. This just gives me something to poke into. And now I'm going to show you this. Originally I did the whole thing in pencil, and then I went back and did it a bit in black marker, because in case you wanted to actually look at it, this picture frame is it's a regular, what do they call it? It's a document frame. So the size of this is 8.5 by 11, regular paper size. So if If you have a different size frame, you can just adjust your numbers. But if you wanted me to give you the numbers, because some people really like the numbers. So the first thing I did was I came down 1 inch for my first line. And then I did 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. These are going to be for the posts, for post earrings, and then dangle earrings here and dangle earrings here. Now, you can always adjust it any way that you need to. So what I did was the first line is at 1 inch, the next line is at 1 3/4, the next line is at 2 1/2, the next line is at 3 1/4, and the final line is at 5 3/4 for the way I'm making it here. For the lines on the post, what I did was I came in 1/4 of an inch, and then I used my ruler from that 1/4 of an inch mark. You're going to measure from there, not from the outside edge. And I came in 1/2 of an inch, and then I put another dot at 1/2 an inch, so the post will be just 1/2 an inch apart. Then I left a 1 inch space, so at 2 inches and 2 1/2 inches, I put the next pair of earrings. Left a whole inch, so at 3 1/2 and 4 is the next set of earrings. A whole inch. I'm going to move it so you can actually see the numbers if you can see them. At 5 and 5 1/2. The next at 6 1/2 and 7. The next at 8 and 8 1/2. And then the final ones at 9 and 10. And that way you have the same distance on each end of your board. I did that for all of the post lines until we got to the dangle lines. Where the dangles are, I started at the edge of the cardboard, and I put the first earring at 1 and the next one at 2, because usually dangle earrings are bigger. Then I skipped 1 1/2 inch and I went to 3 1/2 and 4 1/2. I skipped 1 1/2 inch and went to 6 and 7, skip 1 1/2 inch and go to 8 1/2 and 9 1/2. And then your ends are pretty even. And then what I did for the next one, I put my marker, or my ruler, again on the marker line that's in 1/4 of an inch, and did the same numbers except lined up over 1/4 of an inch. That way these will hang here and these will hang here. They'll hang over a little bit. They'll be a little offset, just in case those are a little long. It can kind of hang between those. So I started then at the 1/4 of an inch, and again did 1, 2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 6, 7, 8 1/2, and 9 1/2, and that just moved that whole bottom line over a little bit. So that's where I'm going to poke all of the holes, and I'm going to poke them in here first before I put the silver on. Then I'm going to attach this and this together, and then we are going to, I need my pokey tools. I'm going to use the medium-sized pokey tool. I think that that hole will be big enough. And again, our pokey tools are just, these are Phillips screwdrivers from the Dollar Tree, but they make a very nice hole. You can just go through and poke them all, and once you get them poked completely through, then you can go through and put your pokey tool through to widen them out a little bit and to make the holes just a little bit bigger. So, and as I held that up there, hopefully you could see any of the notes that you may need. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask. And like I said, if you don't wear earrings, you can use this to hang dangles from, for you know, whenever you make any kind of dangly embellishments and you want a place to store them, you can put them on here, and then you'll have them right out to sea, and you'll have a pretty little display. So I have to tell you, so I sharpened one of the pencils that we bought when we made the washi tape holder, like the little washi tape Ferris wheel. And so I got one of those pencils and I had to sharpen it because I didn't have a pencil. I was going to do the whole back in pencil because I wanted it marked, and you know, so you could see, and so I knew exactly where I was going. But then I thought I could erase them when I was done. But then after I did that, I thought I really probably should do it dark enough so you could see it. But I went to sharpen my pencil, and in our spare bedroom, hanging on the wall, is the old crank pencil holder. And I have an electric pencil holder at my desk, which actually is kind of buried. But every time I thought as I was sharpening it and I was cranking the handle, you know, you crank the handle, and it just made me think, whenever I sharpen a pencil, I always use that crank that pencil sharpener. I just love that thing. I don't know if it reminds me of, you know, when I was young or what it is about it, but I love that pencil sharpener. And it definitely is my go-to sharpener. Just make sure you don't poke yourself. I'm just going to go through and make them all a little bit bigger. And then we will glue this to our backing. Now, I'm going to do it anyways, but normally that's why I wanted to be able to erase my pencil marks, because I'm going to make this the back of my holder, and this is going to be sandwiched behind the paper so that you don't see the cereal on there. And the paper that I have is sticky paper, but you don't have to have that. You can just have regular old paper and glue it together. Actually, every time you glue something together like that, it makes it much stronger. So even if, you know, like we hook those others together with wire, or right now I'm making some drawers for a unit that I bought. And, you know, I nail them, but I also put wood glue on before I even nail them together, because once that glue dries, to me, it's a little bit stronger than the nails. And that's what Papa always taught me. Whenever you're doing woodworking, you glue it, unless it's something you're going to need to take apart. You glue it before you nail it. And that works with paper crafting too. If you glue it before you put some kind of a little attachment on it, the glue makes it so much sturdier. And so there we go. Now we've got all of our holes on there. Now normally what I do is I would go in on this back side, because this is something you want to last for a long time. This is the side that is going to be against our paper. And so go in and lay all of those bits out. Just kind of flatten them out. Once we put the paper on top, then we will poke the holes in our paper. So they don't necessarily have to be, I like to kind of pull them towards the outside like this, so that when I poke the hole in the paper, they're not trying to push through the front of the paper also. Because I am going to push these forward. I'm going to put the pokey tool from here through my front paper, and then we'll have to kind of flatten those out too. But I don't know how else to do it. Well, usually when I do that, then I poke it through this way, and then I turn around and poke it back through the other way, and a lot of times that will take care of, actually I can do that with these too. Yeah. So I'm going to go through, and I am going to poke all of these back the other way now that I've got them, because it's not making them too bumpy on the back. And then I'm going to glue these two pieces together. And then I'm going to set a book on them. I'm going to glue them just with Eileen's Tacky Glue. But I'm going to glue them together and set a book on them and let them really sit and get dry while our feet are drying too. And then I'll be back, and then we'll put it together. Okay, I am back, and I glued the two of these together, put them in a nice heavy book. This is the back of our earring holder. So we are just going to now put our decorative paper on top like this, and our legs have dried pretty nicely. Now this is a sticky back paper, but if you didn't have this, you could always just go ahead and put some glue on. The sticky feels kind of so-so. So even though this is going to be in a frame and the frame is going to kind of hold it together and everything, I'm going to just kind of go around the edge a little bit and get a little bit of glue on it just to make sure that it does stick, because I don't want it to pull off as you're putting things on and off. So, and then I'm going to go in between the gaps and even between the holes. Just kind of hold that paper on there really well. I just don't want to go too close to the holes. And we'll go between these ones and these ones and these ones. There we go. I think we've got it everywhere. A little bit more over here. Okay, now we'll put our paper on. And now we'll see how we do. I kind of prefer gluing paper on than doing this because I'm not real good at lining things up, but hopefully kind of like watching glue dry, huh, guys? This is not perfectly straight, but I'm hoping that it doesn't wind up off too much, because we are going to have a little bit of a hide. It's going to be hidden by the frame. So that's not too bad, hopefully. And I'll just leave that to fold over. I don't think that's going to hurt a thing. And then we'll need to take our pokey tool, our medium-sized one. We're going to have to poke through that front piece. And then we'll have to go from the front to the back. And I'm just gonna not do all of them right now, because you don't need to watch me do all of them. You'll get the gist of it. Excuse me. And then after I poke the hole, I'm gonna go down. And because this has like a little lip on it right here, I can push all the way through and then just kind of give it a roll, and that will really kind of like push that down a little bit to make sure that it's flat around the hole. And because this is sticky paper, it's kind of wanting to stick to my pokey tool. So there we go. We'll just get this top line across here, and I will do the rest of them after we get it all put together, because we're going to put it together and let it dry, and then I will be back to show you what it looks like and tell you what we need for next week. So I'll have finished all the holes by then. Okay, so there we go. We've got our holes in there, our first row. And then we're going to put it in our picture frame without the glass. The sticky paper is holding me up a little bit. There we go. And then go ahead and push down the little holders nice and tight, like that. I have some little corners. Okay. There we go. So that's what our front looks like. Now we're going to put our feet on, and here they are. They're all dry. And so what I'm going to do is on these, they have little bumps on them, and I am going to line the bottom of the picture frame up with this last bump, the very last one right there, and we are going to glue it again. So I'm just going to, we want the black in the front. I'll try and do it sideways, you might be able to see better. And I'm going to put it out to one edge, like that, and out to this edge like this. So this is how it's going to sit. It's being held up in the back. I'm going to kind of just hold it here so that, because it's not glued down or anything, but it's being held up in the back by the feet that are on the back, just like that. And I like to have just a little bit of an angle on it so things can kind of hang against the board. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put some super glue down here, and we're going to let that sit for a little bit. And then I think what we're going to do is I'm going to come around like the middle tine of this, poke a couple holes, and put a wire through it and wire it to these also. Oh, my glue's not perfectly dry. Okay, so we're going to put our super glue on here. Here it is. Oops. And again, I'm going to, where the little bumps are, trying to make it so you can see them, but where the little bumps are, I'm going to put it right behind the very last bump. Move some, getting low on this. And I'm going to do it on all four of them. Or all four. All three. Just like that. Just grab a piece of paper here and get this middle part out. Okay, I'm going to put it on this one. That's, again, what I like about the gel glue is it'll sit there till I'm ready. Well, it won't sit there forever, but it will sit there till I'm ready to use it versus running all over the place like the really liquidy stuff does. And I find this glue to work really quite well. For being $1 at the Dollar Tree, it's definitely worth it. Whenever I'm doing something that I want a good strong hold on, that's what I use. So there we go. Start with one. Put it on there. And I'm bringing it right out to the edge of the picture frame, just inside the edge of the picture frame. So there's that one. Just inside, because you don't want it to, you don't want your outside tongue to hit the edge of the picture frame, which sticks out a little bit further. You want all of them to hit on the cardboard here. So that's why you want to make sure that you're just inside your picture frame. So we've got those there. I'm going to make sure that we're straight in the front. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it lean back against, oh, I kind of messed that up. See, how do I want to do this? I actually wanted to put glue on these tines. Okay. I'm going to, oh, maybe if I let it lean this way, it'll be out of my way enough. I need something really heavy. What do I have that's really heavy? There. Just want to get them out of my way, and then I can put the glue on there. well. Trying to get in there to move that glue. Okay. Now you can't see this when it's off, but I'm just doing, I know I'm off camera, but I'm just doing the same thing, just putting glue on those 3 tines. It's the hardest part about doing something that's fairly large is you either have to be so far away that no one can really see what you're doing, or close enough up that you can't get the whole thing in the screen. And I would prefer to be closer than further away. Okay, I'm going to check where I'm at right here. Make sure I'm touching on the back. Whoops. Okay, don't want to be leaning against anything else. Okay. Okay, now I'm touching everywhere that my glue is, so I'm sticking my glue bottle behind the back to hold it up. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to slide this candle holder right up here in the front. Whoops, don't want to. Okay. And there we go. Now once the glue dries, the bottom will stay where it's at, but with the glue not being dry, the bottom is going to want to kick out off of the place where we're trying to glue it. That's why we're holding it up this way right now until the glue dries, to keep that bottom right where it's at. So now we're going to have to let the glue dry. And in looking at this, I want to move this one over just a little bit. Trying to eyeball if they look even. Okay, they look pretty even. So there we go. We're going to let that sit. I am going to slide a couple pieces of parchment paper underneath of it so I don't glue it to my tablecloth with that super glue. And then once this is dry, I will be back. We'll put the wires on it, and I'll already have the holes poked in it, and I'll show you how to use it and what we need for next week. So I'll be back in just a sec. Okay, I'm back for us to finish this up. So I have finished punching all of the holes from the back to the front, and then pushing the skewer backwards again so we had a nice flat front. Now when I did this, I just went ahead and put it like right on the edge of my table so it would lay flat and the feet would hang out over the end. So that way, you know, I wasn't trying to do it with the feet there or standing up or whatever. So I did want you to know that when you go to poke your holes, you can set the legs over the edge of your table, and so that they don't get in your way, but you're not pushing against them. Okay, so what I wanted to do, one last bit to strengthen it up a little bit, is I want to come to this side, and I think I want to do the middle. And I'm just going to go ahead and poke a hole. I don't need to make a mark and then poke a hole. Alrighty, I'm going to go in the middle where it is touching the cardboard. And I'm just going to poke a hole on each side right next to each side of this little leg right here. The middle one right here. I'm just going each side of that so that I can wrap a piece of wire around it, and just to make it a little bit more secure. And I'm going to do the same with this one, right where it's touching the paper. Right where it's touching the paper, I'm just going to go, or the cardboard, I'm just going to go on this side. Make sure you keep your fingers out of the way when you do that, and then put one on this side. It doesn't matter if they're perfectly even, because I'm going to put a sticker over top of them to cover the wire up, because I don't really want to see the wire. And so let's just get a little piece of wire here. Here they are. It wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't lose something, or if I didn't say that every time I lost something. Okay, little piece for each side. Just going to kind of bend it into a U. Push those down a little bit. Try and get a better hold on that. Just put a wire through on each side. Just like that. So now our wire has come out here, and it's going right around this center little finger there, or whatever we call it. So I'm going to just wrap that around itself. And then we'll just use our pliers to twist it up and make it nice and tight. So that's just another way to make our legs more secure. It takes a little of the pressure off the glue. I'm going to nip off the end of this. And then keep twisting till it gets tight. If I can get my pliers on there. Okay, that feels pretty tight, so then I'm just going to grab a hold of the end of that wire, just so it's not something that's sticking out, and I'm just going to kind of curl it up a little bit so that it's facing the back of the frame and not where it's going to catch somebody's finger. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing with this one. Just bend it into a U. Put it through the two holes here that we just poked. And twist that up a little bit. And then use my pliers to give it a good twist. This is hard to do, to try and keep it under the camera. Nip a little bit of this off right from the start to get it out of my way. Oops. And you do want to make sure that you get it, pretty tight, because that's the whole point. If we don't get it tight, then there was no reason to actually put it on there. But you don't want to do it so tight that you put like a hole through your cardboard and paper in the front, because you got it so tight. Okay, and then I'm just going to curl this around so that it doesn't poke anybody. And there we go. All right, so now that makes it even a little sturdier on our feet. And this is what it looks like on the front. Now with this silver paper, you can't even hardly see it. But I did want to stick a butterfly over that anyways. And so these are the stickers that I bought to go with mine, because they matched. And I have an option as to, if I want that to be flat, I don't have to use the top layer of the butterfly. I can just use the back layer, if I can get it off. There we go. Ooh, that's pretty holographic on the back. And so I'm just going to put that over top of that little piece of wire there. And then if I want, I can take this one off. I could kind of glue it down so it's flatter. I think I'm just going to leave it. If I find that it's getting in my way because it is, puffed out a little bit, then I might take the front layer off, or glue it down or something. But I think for right now, I kind of like the way it looks just like that. So I'm going to put another one on this side. Press that down really good. And there. So now we've got that. And then I have a few other butterflies here that I thought maybe I would Like stick one up in one of the corners. I thought I might even stick one in the middle. Even though I've got the holes there, I might just stick one right over top of the holes. Just because I could. Like I could put it right there. Or I could put it right up there. Let's put it up there. I like that. Now because this is a sticker, I can either roll it around. I think I will just roll it around. Or otherwise, if I wanted it to stand up straight, I could put just a little piece of cardstock behind the sticker so that it wouldn't stick down and it would stand up. But I am going to just roll it around because we've got these wings out here. And there. See, isn't that cute? So that's how we can make our holder. Now, if you don't wear earrings, like I said, I don't. Another thing that you can do, I'm going to put this right over here for a second. Put it there so you can see it a little bit. Take a paper clip. You can really do anything to do this. You could use wire or anything. But if you have some paper clips, just take your paper clip and open it up like this. And then I'm just going to cut it right here where the two come together. There is no specific spot. There's no right or wrong spot. I'm just kind of cutting it in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this side and I'm going to bend it over just like that. And this is what I'm going to hook through the back of my thing. And then I will have this sticking out the front that I can put dangly things on. So then with the other one, even though it's bent forward, I'm just going to bend it backwards. And then the one thing you might want to do, if you're kind of like me and a little bit anal, I want, when I hang them in those holes, I want them to all hang down the same distance, which means that I want my folded part in the same spot. So you take the first one that you do and hold it up to the one you're going to do. Just line it up. Okay, so this one is folded right there. And so now I'm going to fold the other one in the same spot right there. And that way when I hang them up, they'll hang the same distance down from the hole. And so that's what it looks like. And there's the bigger side. So you have two sizes. Doesn't really need to have two sizes, but that's the way it comes. And then you just take the part that you bent over like that and just put it through the hole. Now you might want to maybe just go, I just dropped it on the floor. Oh well, I have more. You might want to go like every other one, or you might want to, like these are the bigger side. This is the bigger side. So just kind of put those in there. And I'm just skipping some holes just because I didn't make very many of these. So I'm just going to put them in there. And I'm just taking that bent side and just sticking it in the hole. Just like that. Yeah. And then do the smaller ones. Maybe do the smaller ones. Let's even skip one. Why not? I have these ones bent really, really tight, and they're really short. I'm going to bring that back out a little bit. They don't need to be that tight. There. So see, now I have little hooks on there. And then you can, I'm going to put the last couple that I have so that I don't wind up getting them on the floor. Then you can just hang anything from there that you want to. What I did was I went around my art room and found things that I had hanging all over the place because I didn't have any place to put them. So they're hanging from my lamps, and they're just really hanging all over the place. So just different beads that I've made, things that I've tried. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't. But I do like this one. I love the way that one turned out. But just like I said, I just kind of hang them everywhere because I don't have a specific place to hang things like that. Maybe take and put the longer thing more towards the top. And even like these bookmarks that I have. And I have a bunch of them hanging in one spot, so maybe just hang those up somewhere. And I'm out of places, I'm out of hooks, so I'll just hang 2 on that hook. And see, so you can do it like that, and then you have them, and of course, you know, you'll have more hooks on here, but you know, you can just have all your stuff hanging up there, and then you say, oh, I need this or I need that. You can just look at all the different things that you've made. That's not very pretty, is it? There we go, that's better. And say, oh, that will work for what I'm doing, or that will work. And so then you've kind of got them all hung up in one spot. So you don't have to wear earrings to go ahead and have fun making one of these. Thank you very much for the person who requested this. I do apologize that I don't remember your name, and I meant to write it down, but I forgot. Isn't this cool? See, now I'm getting distracted. It's a bobby pin with feathers, so you can just put the feathers in your hair. And that was hanging in one of my rooms too, or on one of my lamps too, so I'll just put that on there. But yeah, I think that this turned out fun. Thank you very much for the suggestion. I never would have thought of it, and because I don't wear earrings, I wouldn't have made one, but I really do like it for this, actually. I'm going to go through and collect up some of my other things and hang them on here. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch. I really do appreciate it. And for next week, I almost forgot. For next week, we are going to need 2 little flat, let's move this out of the way, 2 flat bowls, preferably with a fairly flat top. We are going to need one of these dish drying mats, which is, it's got just a little bit of foam in there. You know, it's probably 1/8 of an inch or something for drying dishes. A spray bottle, some baby shampoo, and some of our glycerin. So that's what we're going to need for next week. So we're going to spend $1, $2, $3, $4. We'll put $1 in our bank for next week. And now I will say thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you like this project. And if you make one, I hope you have a good time. Thanks again. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.